Praise and glory to the living God. So I made a recording yesterday about some information that I received, and I was thinking about releasing it, and then I said, well, I didn't get any permission from the Lord, so I said I'm not going to release it unless the Lord gives me confirmation to release it. It could be something that He doesn't want me to discuss. And so I wasn't planning to release it. I started working on another video, which I already released. And then I was planning to work on some other things that I need to get done. But I received confirmation to release that video that I recorded yesterday. I received it this morning, and I'm going to get into that. But before I discuss that, I want to discuss what this video is about, is to discuss the pre-Adamic age. And I'm going to be discussing it both biblically and prophetically in terms of what the Lord showed me. And so what is the pre-Adamic age? It refers to a hypothetical period of time in religious belief, particularly within Abrahamic religions, that existed before the creation of Adam, the first human according to the Bible, meaning there could have been life on earth prior to Adam's existence. This concept is called Pre-Adamism and is considered controversial as it contradicts the traditional interpretation of Genesis, which states Adam was the first man. So that is from Google. That is a Google definition of what the pre-Adamic age means. And so you can see in the definition that it is something that goes against Genesis. It goes against the belief that Adam was the first man. It goes against the Bible. Okay, so it is a false teaching, and I'm going to explain that explosively. So I want to get into what I received as confirmation to make this video. So I was reading the Bible this morning, not knowing that I was going to come across this verse at all whatsoever. I just randomly said I wanted to read 2nd Ezra 6 again, and I started at verse 1 and just minding my business, just reading that. And then I get to this verse in verse 54, and it reads, "And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen." So right there in Esdras, it says how all humans came from Adam. Eve came from Adam. All humans came from Adam. And it even points out all the chosen ones came from Adam. Adam was created first. And then I also want to read some scriptures out of the Word of God. Genesis 5:1-2 says, "This is the book of the generations of Adam, in the day that God created man. In the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created." So again, it's pointing out how Adam was the first man that was created. He was the first human being that was created. It is talking about how we all came from Adam right here in this verse. And then I also want to read this verse in the New Testament, and this is 1 Corinthians 15:45-47, and it reads, "And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. Howbeit that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterwards that which is spiritual. The first man is of the earth, earthly. The second man is the Lord from heaven." So this second man, Adam, that is referring to is Jesus Christ. But I'm not going to get into that because that's not included in what I'm discussing in this video. There's this belief that all of these humans were on the earth before Adam. And you guys, that's false doctrine. That is not true. And now I'm going to go ahead and play the recording that I made yesterday because it discusses a very powerful prophetic dream that I had years ago. And here it is right now. Something that the Lord showed me years ago, and I never shared it. And I have good reason not to share it. And I'm not going to even share the whole thing now. But I will tell you all that I had a very powerful dream where I was taken back in time. This was more like a out-of-body experience. Again, I was there. I could feel the environment. It was so real. And God showed me the earth right after he made the earth. I had another one I did release when I talked about how God showed me him making the earth. And I started off in that dream. I was in outer space. I did release that one, praise be to God. But this one I didn't release because of some personal things that I was shown. And I'm not going to get into all of that. So let me add this, because I don't want people to let their minds just run wild and crazy. The part of the dream that I don't want to discuss has to do with me and my rank and things like that before God sent me into the earth. I existed as an angel before I came to the earth. I discussed that in videos multiple times in the past. I'm not going to get into that. And the Lord showed me different things about that. And that's the part that I'm not going to discuss. So anyway, God showed me the earth after he had made it. You guys, it was so beautiful. The trees, the land, and everything. There were animals. The animals were very exotic. I've talked about this in videos in the past. They did not look like the animals that we have today. I talked about in the past how I saw lions and their fur was very white and the animals were a lot bigger. I'm not going to go over all types of different animals that I saw. The point that I'm making is they didn't look like the animals that we have today. They were more colorful and they were huge. They were like giant animals. And I knew that the animals that we have today were from those animals. Like when I saw Eve, her skin wasn't like any African American skin in the world. Her skin looked like all the skins in the world was in her skin, but it was a dark colored skin. The closest I can think of is copper, because it was like that metallic look. Like she had this like metallic looking skin, you guys. It was beautiful. I cannot even explain it. And her hair was the same color as her skin. And so anyway, I wouldn't call her African American. I wouldn't call her white. I would just say she's the mother of all. Like she had all the races in her. She was absolutely beautiful. And there's no one on this earth that looks like that I know of. And it's the same way with the animals. For instance, this lion I saw, I knew all the cat families came through those lions, those original lions. So we had cats, we had tigers, we had lions itself, as we know of today, with the brownish skin, and other species, leopards, you name it, that they all originated from these lions that I saw with this really white skin and gold patches. The point that I'm making is, when I saw the whole earth like that, I saw the animals, very beautiful, exotic animals, and it was peace, you guys. It was so sublime and so peaceful. I cannot even explain to you how peaceful the world was. I cannot even voice that to you all, how peaceful it was. It was just harmony. And I knew the Spirit of God was all over the earth. You could feel the Spirit of God so strongly. Let me just say that, because they made a lot of movies about that time with Adam and Eve and everything like that. But they don't do justice to the feeling that you had of the Spirit of God. You could feel it so strong. And me coming from the earth in the way that we have today with witches and warlocks and all of this stuff, I could tell the difference immediately. Feeling the presence of God just all over this place. I mean, you just want to pray, speak in tongues, worship all day. Like you can feel it so strong. And so anyway, there were no people. God literally showed me the earth. I started in that dream from outer space. I zoomed into the earth and he showed me the whole earth. It was nothing but the trees and grass and beauty and water and the animals. And then he showed me when he made Adam. And I saw Adam when he came forth. I saw him. And I'm not going to get into everything about this dream, like I said, because there were some things that I don't feel led to share. But I can tell you this, Adam was in the dirt, 100% in the dirt. So anyone want to make a movie or whatever, this is what the Lord showed me. He was like, you would say like a plant. Like, how can I say this? You know, like if you plant some roses and they come forth and they bud forth. He was in the ground, like completely in the ground. And the dirt was so beautiful. And you could walk on it and you didn't sink. But it was easy to move. Like you could pick it up with your hand very easily and move it. You didn't need a shovel or nothing like that. The ground was unlike anything we have today. You could easily move this dirt. It was the most beautiful, rich chocolate dirt. unlike any dirt that we have on the earth today. And when Adam came forth, he came forth in a way, the best way I can explain it is if a person is swimming backwards and they move their hands a certain way, like they're swimming backwards, that is how I saw Adam come forth on the earth. And when I saw him, his skin was different from Eve's, actually. Eve's skin was darker than his, actually. His skin was lighter. It wasn't white like that. It wasn't at all. And again, though, he looked like every race in the world was in him. And he also had this metallic looking skin, but it's unlike any color, both Eve and Adam. If you go with copper and say, oh, their skin was like copper, there is no color on this earth that I can relate to the color of their skin. Copper is the best way I can describe Eve's skin because of the metallicness of it, the darkness of it. But her skin was different than that, you guys. There is no, and I've tried looking at all kind of different colors. We don't have a color on this earth to match her skin. We don't have it. And I would say the same thing about Adam. And Adam came forth and his hair was unlike African American hair, both of them. Their hair was more loose, like loose curls. It was curly, but it was more like loose curls, like wavy. And you could look at both of them and see every race in the world came through them. The point that I'm making is there was no humans before Adam and Eve. So this whole concept of all these people walking the earth, and this is the thing that I want to make sure I get across. A lot of people, I believe in this because they say, well, we have all these structures that are 11,000 years old and they're 20,000 years old and blah, blah, blah. You guys, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. We have shifted many times. Many times. There's been many shifts. If you ignore the shift change, you are going to miss the fact that not only do things shift into our world from other dimensions and other times, but it also shows that we cannot rely on the timeline that we have to say that the earth is only 6,000 years old, for instance. I'm sorry, you guys. And I know that what I'm saying in this video is very hard for some people to hear, because they have this whole concept that they can number the earth, that they know the years of the earth. But you guys, I don't come point blank and saying these things. It's worded in between the lines. When I release things about the shift change, what am I saying in between the lines? The timeline that we know of is not correct, because we have had many different shift changes. Is the world older than 6,000 years? Very possibly. You guys, I'm going to be honest and tell you, based on the things that I have seen prophetically, I definitely believe that the earth is way older than 6,000 years because of all the shift changes we have had. For instance, I'm 49 years old right now, right? Say we had a shift change, and then after the shift change, I'm 23. I've been shown many times I'm going to be a lot younger, but I've already lived 49 years. Then after the shift change, I'm 23, and then say I die at 73 or something. I mean, right then and there, the time is different. So when you see these ages, well, you know, Enoch lived this long, Noah lived this long. And I'm not saying that stuff isn't accurate, you guys. Don't misquote what I'm saying. Well, Shauna's trying to say that Enoch lived 1,200 years. That's not what I'm saying. Don't misquote what I'm saying. I'm just trying to give you all an example of how you cannot assume that you know the time of this earth, the date of this earth, and to assume that anyone saying, well, this structure is 11,000 years old is not telling the truth. Now, I'm not saying that they are telling the truth, but I am saying that you cannot justify how long the earth has been here, because we've had many different shift changes, you guys. To me, it reminds me of Jubilee year. No one really knows when is Jubilee year. You have a lot of people claiming it's this year, is this year, is this year, but there's no evidence to really know when is Jubilee year. I've never received anything prophetic about it. I released a year. I said, I think this could be Jubilee year, but no one really knows when Jubilee year is. And that's the facts. We don't know this timeline either. We really don't know how old this earth has been because of the shift change. When God started teaching me about the shift change, that changed everything. But I do know for a fact there were no humans at all before Adam and Eve, because God showed me that 100% point blank, and that is from the living God. And I want to say this as well. There's also a belief that Satan was kicked out of heaven before he tempted Adam and Eve. That is incorrect. A lot of people believe that he was a serpent on the earth because he was kicked out of heaven. I'm telling you guys, and I've said this before in videos in the past, God showed me 100%. You guys, this is not a dream. I'm going to tell you this. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth, what I'm saying here. I was wide awake, was not asleep, did not have a dream, was not a vision. It was more than that. I sat up in the bed, and it's the God in heaven, honest truth. I had two angels. I'm not going to go over the whole encounter because I've already released this video on my old channel. But anyway, I had one angel come to me on each side, and they showed me on my head that it said 100% for the Lord. And then Jesus came right after that. And everything I'm telling you guys is not a dream. This really happened to me. And Jesus came right after that in between them. And he took my spirit out of my body. That's how real and powerful this experience was. And he showed me Lucifer's life. It was a play-by-play of Lucifer's life. And God showed me, I'm not going to go over the whole encounter. Like I said, I've already released that. And he showed me that Lucifer was kicked out of heaven after he led Adam and Eve to eat of that fruit. He was an angel when he did that, you guys. And I'm going to remind you all, that was before God created hell. Lucifer had went way off the deep end. He really thought he can just do whatever, get away with whatever. And he did that because he wanted to be a God on this earth. He saw that as his opportunity. God showed me he was upset. He didn't like that God was loving humanity, loving mankind. So here in the recording, when I'm talking about how Lucifer didn't like how God had love for humanity, mankind, and things of this nature, I'm not referring to humans on the earth. I'm referring to in other dimensions. So what the Lord has showed me prophetically multiple times is how God created other earths before. Well, I call them earths, you guys. I know for a fact that they weren't necessarily called Earth because I've been to some planets prophetically and been given the name and it was not Earth. I'm just saying Earth so you can get the concept of it being a planet with beings on it, and they didn't always look like us either. And I'm not going to get into all of that, but the point that I'm making is Lucifer did not like that God would create beings in general that he would love and love with all his heart, and he was upset about that, and he wanted to become a god. So here's the rest of the recording. He felt like God should take us and use us for his pleasure and have his way with us and all kind of stuff, and then that meant killing us and torturing us and everything else. And he went and did that when he was an angel. He was an angel of the Lord when he did that to Adam and Eve. And then that's when God kicked him out of heaven, you guys. And God still at that point had not even created hell yet. So God kicked him to the earth. There was no hell yet. That is what God showed me. I felt very led to make this video. I pray that you all will listen to what I had to say. I love you all. God bless you. Bye.